Use code Incon for 10% off your G Fuel action and help support the Twitchiest community by using that link down below in the description. Hello everybody, we are here with your Persephone guide. So we're going to be trying to buy our items a little bit quick here at the start of the game as we get ourselves out into the world. And that is because we're going to be wanting to use our one a couple of times in order to get down some plants. So Persephone is going to be played in the mid lane. That is the only lane that she is played in. And on Persephone, you are a big, fat, bursty mage, and literally a farmer. So she's quite good at farming as well. And your number one goal that you're gonna have is basically just to annoy the absolute daylights out of the enemy team with your plants. So starting off, we're gonna be getting our Mage's Blessing. On top of our Mage's Blessing, we have got our tier 1 going into Doom Orb, a couple of health pots, mana pots, and of course, our beads. At level 1, we are going to go ahead and grab our 1. This is our lane clear ability. And it also summoned a little skull that we can use as a plant, making this ability very efficient early on because you can get both the wave clear and the annoyingness of Persephone plants all in one ability. It's got an auto tag that we got to death. So for Persephone 1, you can see the targeter. It launches out. When it hits its target, it is going to basically explode. When it explodes, it does that damage all the way back in the area, just like how a Medusa 2 would work, but instead of being a cone, it's just a big block that is going to do all of that damage. And it also summons, at the very end, a Harvest Skull. That Harvest Skull is going to work just like our 2. So this goes out, does damage, and then you can see at the very end, it places down that little skull for you at the end, that little plant. Your 2 is going to be your plant summoning ability. Your plant summoning ability, so I throw out this, boom, a little plant, boom, a little plant, boom, a little plant. So now we need to talk about these little plants. These little plants technically have 3 stages. The first stage, right when you throw it out, lasts for just a moment, and it basically doesn't do anything. If you go and click on it right then, you'll be able to give yourself just a little bit of sustain. You can use it as a little bit of sustain. When it goes into its second form, you gotta not auto tag it for it to go into a second form. It will be an explosion around the area as well as a slow. So this is a damage and a slow in the area. This is a very efficient use of Persephone 2. And finally, when the plant grows all the way up, it grabs itself some legs and it will run around and target the nearest enemy. So you can see it just absolutely sacrificing its little flower body over there for Hades. If there's no enemy god around, it will go for minions, but these do prioritize enemy gods first, which is quite nice. So once again, they've got the 3 stages. You got the heal, you've got the splody, and you've got the bite. Those are the 3 different stages. You can store up to 6 skulls at a time. You can place down, depending on how high your 2 is ranked up, will depend on how many of your plants you can have down. Starting at 6, then 8, finishing up at 10. It takes 2.2 seconds. It's 2.2 seconds that your last tier of plant will be activated for to run around trying to bite somebody. If it does go ahead and bite them, any subsequent bites will do less damage. So you can see there's reduced damage for bites, for additional explosions, all of this. So you're not getting like 10 plants times 220 on one target. You are going to be getting a percent of that depending on how many you're hitting. All dependent on how many you are hitting.
Your middle tower is under attack.
For Persephone's 3, this is going to be our leap ability, our getaway. This is a multi-directional getaway ability. What that means is we can use this one at any time to basically leap in a direction. We can choose backwards or forwards. So if I want to leap backwards, I just got to press the S key and I'll leap backwards. If I want to leap forwards, I just press the W key and I will leap forward.
Establish your room, my darling.
This ability also has interactions with your plant. If you use this ability on a plant, it will proc your plant in its next form. So it basically does like a one-time evolve on your plant. So if it's in its tier 1 form, then it'll turn into the Explosion. If it's in its tier 2 form, it'll turn into the Bitey form. And if it's in the Bitey form, well, it's already in its final form. Last part on this ability, this is also going to basically give you a missile in hand, so to speak. So when you press your 3, you're going to see this little icon pop up. It's got pre-germinate. So when you throw out your 2, it will immediately be in the explosion form. It'll go immediately to that explosion form. So I can pop my 3. I'm like, oh no, I want to get some plants running around for some action. Boom, they're going to go running right at Hades. Then my next plant is going to be an explosion. Boom, I can throw that down in the wave and get some good lane clear. Gotta send some more plants over at this Hades for the funsies, and then move myself over towards the Awilix. I'm actually going to use my dash a little aggressive here just to get a little poke on the Awilix. She actually ended up body blocking that auto attack for the 3. Then we have our ultimate on Persephone. Our ultimate has no range. It is unlimited range until it encounters some sort of object that it is going to slap. This might be an enemy god, this might be a wall, a tower, whatever. It is just gonna keep going until it reaches that point. When it reaches that point, it is going to explode on the target, doing a bunch of damage. If it hits it directly, that target is going to be stuck and rooted.
I love it.
Inside of the vines, they will also be crippled, and in order to get themselves out, they will have to attack those vines. You can help get them out by attacking from the outside as well. It needs 5 basic attacks in order to get it out. Also, anybody within the area, the vines will reach out and try to grab them, so they also cannot leave the area, but you do have a time in order to try and get away from those vines. They have like an actual animation that they play that will reach out of you when you're in the duration. If you get smacked by the middle of it, you ain't got no time. You're just there now. You're just smacked in the head. There's nothing you can do about it. Also, this will reduce your attack speed by 15%, which is relevant because you have to auto attack in order to get out. So reducing your attack speed means reducing the capability that you have to try and get out of this ability. Hi, Awilix. So, when you're taking poke on Persephone, make sure you just use her 1 to go ahead and heal yourself right back up. Make sure you're always having as many flowers out as you can as well. You always want those little guys germinating. You want to use them to do things like block off points of entry. You want to use them in the middle of the lane in order to prevent your enemy mid laner from taking too much damage. Excuse me, you want to do it in order to get them to take damage. On Persephone, I've got a kind of a strange level order for her, but it's what I prefer. I like to get 2 points in my 1, because 2 points in my 1 and then leveling my 2 basically full clears the wave, and I think that leveling the 2 is simply more important since her entire kit is basically her plants. You can see how much damage that just did hitting that Hades right there. So now if I do one little that, and then I throw down my plant and just explode it, it just clears the entire wave. So I like to go 4, 2, 1, 3 for the Persephone leveling order, but I do like to get that second point in my 1 just for a little bit of extra burst, just for a little bit of extra lane clear. Finally, Persephone's passive, which you can see here, represented by a pomegranate. It's a pomegranate. That is what it is. If she has more than 25 seeds, she gets those seeds by literally just walking up, auto-attacking those seeds. That is how you get those seeds. If she has more than 25, she can spend those to resist death and keep fighting after you die. This is when you see Persephone attacking you from beyond the grave. You cannot be basically attacked when you're in this thing. You're literally dead, but you're still able to use your abilities. You have 8 seconds to fight, but you only deal 60% reduced damage. This can also be canceled. On top of that, when seeds are sold when she enters the fountain, for 3 gold a pop. So if you have extra seeds built up, you can tell that basically these are all bonus seeds. So we'll back up and show you guys. If you watch my gold when I back, it is going to sell some bonus seeds. So I've got 44 right now. When I back up, it is going to sell that, bring it back down to 25, and then I get the gold difference between all those. So I got 3 gold for each of those. It was like, what, 25 or 30 of them. So I got quite a bit of gold off of those pomegranate seeds. So it's a bit of an incentive to continually be using your 2 in order to generate those seeds. So I've used my 3 aggressively here in order to get my 2 built up. I'm going to throw my ulti at the wall because I'm trying to get Hades in the range. I did get Hades in the range, I believe. I think he had to beads in order to get out of that. I'm going to use my dash aggressively again. I'm going to throw down my 2. Bada bing, bada boom. Instantly has germinated, so it is the explosion effect. Kills him right when he goes down. I'm going to throw down a couple of seeds right here because I'm a little bit afraid of this team. I kind of want to just go pick up this red buff. I'm going to go ahead and just dash right out of here. That is going to make those plants the next tier. They were already in the tier 2 explosion phase, which means when I use my dash, it brings them up to their charge right at your face phase. For Persephone, we go right into full CDR. Persephone has a lot of base damage in her kit, not to mention base CC. Your ultimate has that potential AoE root cripple action. Your 2 has the slow on it. You can chase people out with it, which in its own form is kind of a way of CC because you force the enemy to play the dodging minigame. So she has a lot of CC on top of the fact that she's got good damage. Gonna throw down some more plants because I've got plenty of plants that I'm able to throw down right now. You can see how many plants you have down right here on the bar. You can look at your little harvest meter. So I've got 9 plants right now. If I go ahead and use a plant, it's gonna do its little flower attack, and now I've got 8 because I've got this all the way maxed out. That means I can have 10 plants out. If I put out an 11, it'll take whatever the oldest plant is away. It'll take my plant away. As we transition our build into a little bit of the later stages of the game, I'm going to be getting a Divine Ruin because I am against a Hades. So that means I'm going to need a lot of anti-heal this game. It looks like Ares is going to get a pull up, so I'm going to go ahead and try to set down some plants and where he's going. Fafnir's ulting. I want to ulti him the second he comes out of this. Now him and Hades and everybody all stuck in this nonsense. I'm running in aggressively and boom, gonna pop my 3 right on top of that Hades. Set down a bunch of plants on top of him for a giant AoE nuke. Gonna set up some plants around here. Setting up some plants. Gonna go ahead and get rid of all of that. And we'll be able to explode it for our objective secure. So for your objective secure on Persephone, you are using your woo baby, that was a really good Wheeler Snaga right there. You're gonna be throwing down your plants, as many as you can get down. You're gonna just get them all up to whatever stage, it doesn't even matter, and then you're just gonna use your 3, pop all those plants at the same time, and it's gonna go ahead and get your buff for you. It's gonna get the gold fury, whatever it may be. That is your objective securing on Persephone. It's also your big nuke. So if you've got somebody like a Hades, right, who is just standing still in his ultimate or something, then you can just throw down a bunch of plants right on top of him, boom, pop that 3 and get a massive damage explosion on top of him. Okay, we're gonna get to work on that Divine Ruin as well as an Aegis and a couple of wards. So Persephone is a little bit more passive in her playstyle than a lot of the other mages. And I don't mean that in like you're sitting back AFK farming. I just mean that like you're literally sitting back and kind of letting your plants do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. As Persephone, you want a good bit of distance between you and your enemy. You've got very big ranged damage. Because of your plants being able to literally run and travel with the distance of your one and the fact that your ultimate has no actual distance whatsoever, it means that you really have the capability to get a lot of damage off. Keep in mind that your one will do damage through the wall, but your little plant boy does not travel through the wall. This is a very kind of unique thing for Persephone. So you see that little bonus block right there? That bonus block does do the damage through the wall, but your little skull will not travel through the wall. So Wilix, I am trying to explain abilities to people here. You're really killing my vibe. You're really killing my vibe. So right there, I got killed by the Awilix. I was gonna go into my death form, but it looks like I clicked the button and it just immediately stopped me, which is fine because I didn't need to go into it anyway. Persephone's passive is also historically a very finicky ability that sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, but I don't think I had my 50 or no, I had my 25 seeds. I've got 41 seeds, so I actually had plenty of seeds right there. I must have just either clicked the button or it bugged out. You just never know. Now that we've got our Divine Ruin online, I'm gonna look at their team. 1, 2, 3 potentially very tanky people. The Hades is the mid laner, but I'm gonna go ahead and go right into an Ob Shard because I've got the full CDR. I've got a lot of base damage at the ready, so I want to make sure I've got the pen to make sure my base damage is at the ready. On top of that, we should talk about our Persephone matchups. So Persephone is the goddess of poke. She's not the goddess necessarily of 100-0 until you get to the later stages of the game where do not be fooled. She can absolutely 100-0. But in the early stages of the game, sub 20 minutes, she's really a poke goddess. She's wanting you from a really far distance away. She's throwing down plants. She's being annoying. This means that gods that have a lot of sustain in their kit can actually be a little bit annoying for Persephone. Hades is a great pick against Persephone because if you're about to get nuked on, you can just use your ulti to get up a bunch of protections and mitigations. You can also chase down Persephone pretty easily through her dash by having a blink on Hades, so you can dash at her and blink at her to get to her after her dash. Persephone dash is not a super long jump, as you can see. It is a leap. It's just not super long. Because Persephone has a leap, it means that Awilix is a great god against her as well. So you can see that the Awilix is here, being able to pull me over, being able to pull me out of my jump, which of course is problematic for anybody with a leap, so you got to be careful for gods with a lot of sustain and gods that have. Ooh, I'm gonna ulti right here on this AMA. Bada bing, bada boom. Now she is stuck, so she's gonna go down, throw down a bunch of plants as much as I can, popping it on Fafnir as soon as he comes out of his ulti. Now I've got the little explosion on my 2 because of using my leap. Gonna throw down as much damage as I can. We're getting a little bit aggressive on this. I gotta be careful with the Awilix. I got my beads up, but we should be okay right now. I'm just gonna try to use my 1, finish up clearing that wave. So gods with sustain at the start are annoying, and a god like Awilix that can pull you out of your jump. Wall is not problematic for Persephone. She actually loves walls. She can hop over them. It's like a Ymir, whatever. No big deal for you. And her leap is actually on a fairly low cooldown, especially once you get it all the way ranked up. It's going to go down to 6.6 seconds with our full CDR, which is really, really low. The reason why it's so low is because it's also a very offensive ability for Persephone. You use it to pop your plants. You also use it, of course, to give you that pre-ready plant. As for gods you want to go against, pretty much everybody else. The number one most annoying thing as somebody against a Persephone is having to constantly be playing the plant dodging minigame. For Lord forbid you get hit by a plant and take like 20%, 25, 30% of your HP with no way to sustain it up. That is very problematic. And so she loves to just go against any generic mid laner. Somebody like a Ra is actually going to do very well against her. One, Ra has built-in movement speed, so he can actually dodge the plants easier. But two, he's also got the sustain built into his kit as well to deal with the poke if he does so happen to get hit by it. Which once again works back into our you don't really want to go against sustain on Persephone, but anybody else will do. For our standard combination on Persephone, I like to have my 3 built up, so I've got that pre-germinate. Then I start off my combo, I throw down a 2, just auto-attack it right away. You auto-attack that plant, you get the explosion, and then throw up your 1 as follow-up. This is not going to 100 to 0 to somebody, but it very well could take away 50% of their HP. The reason why I like to use the 2 before the 1 is that Persephone's 1 is actually a fairly tricky ability. When you start using it for the first time, you will realize that this has a very unique way that it fires. So I press my 1, it has this delay on it, and then it goes off in the location that you started the ability, not where you ended it. So like if I'm like looking here and I press it and I look away, it still does go at that original location with that delay built on it. So just a unique firing ability in Smite that you do have to get used to. It can kind of be hard to hit, especially if somebody's trying to actively dodge it. So I recommend trying to hit them with the 2 because that's going to slow them first, and then it's going to make the 1 a little bit easier to hit. You can throw your plants over walls. Reminder, your 1 will do the damage through the walls as well, but you can't really proc those plants through the walls because you have to auto attack, and if you jump to try to get over the wall to auto attack them, well, now your jump is down and it didn't proc them anyway. So doing damage through walls, not really Persephone's specialty. Her specialty is more so distance than it is necessarily through walls, although your 1 will make do when you absolutely have to. Now that we've got the Ob Char done, we've got the anti-heal, we've got pen, we've got full CDR. We're going to be moving just into some generic damage right now. I'm going to get myself right into a Rod of Tahuti. This way, when I actually do get somebody low with one of my abilities, whether it's a plant, whether it is my 1, even though I'm getting reduced damage, right, from progressive plant hits and stuff, if I have Rod of Tahuti, I'm going to get bonus damage when they're lower health, so it's actually going to be a lot less noticeable when I get that lessened damage on my progressive flowers, because if they're getting to lower HP, I'm actually going to have some bonus damage, canceling out some of the damage that I'm losing. Gonna head myself over to the left Phoenix. Now, this is one thing that you can do on Persephone. It's a little greedy, but sometimes people are expecting the Persephone ult when you're too close in range. So sometimes you can try to use a Persephone ult from downtown, just like launch it into the Fafnir right there. He has no idea what's about to happen to him, and so he gets hit by that all willy-nilly by the Phoenix. I'm gonna use my 3. Bada bing, now I got the explosion, so I'm gonna be able to kill the Rama, and now we are getting into late game Persephone. This is really where she thrives and where her damage becomes absolutely ridiculous. So we go from a little bit of early poke earlier in the game, keeping people down at 50% health, forcing them to back. And then as we get later in the game, we become a big fat burst machine, throwing down multiple 2s on the same location, following it up with our 3, or even if those are grouped up close enough, we can use 1 auto attack to proc them all. Now, I must do my duty to the Smite community after teaching people what they should be building and what they should be doing on Persephone and how to utilize their kit. I will tell you that when you're playing against Persephone, the easiest way to dodge her plants is actually to run at them, not away from them. So if you run away from Persephone plant, you pretty much can't get away because they are one of the fastest things in the entire game. So you actually want to run towards them at a corner. So if you're running straight at a Persephone plant, That's not what you want to do. You want to run at it slightly to the left or run at it slightly to the right. So that way, when it plays its little attack animation, it will miss you. This is scary because it means you're probably running towards Persephone, but that is by far the easiest way to dodge her plants. We would have, of course, been finishing up that build with our Rod of Tahuti. Then we would have been selling our Mage's Blessing, and I would have gotten a Soul Gem. I love Soul Gem on Persephone because you'll end up with full CDR, and you have so many abilities to proc with your 2. It really opens up Soul Gem to being a crazy sustain item for your team and damage item on top of the damage that you're already providing. And then in the very late game, you sell boots and, of course, get some sort of situational item. Did they get super ultra tanky? Do you need to double down on the pen with a Karen's coin? Bada bing, bada boom, you can combine that. Do you want to get a Soul Reaver for some more percent damage and proc damage with your Soul Gem? Fantastic. Do you need defense because you're getting Loki ulted? Well, by God, it's that Mantle of Discord time. You always have the option as you get into the last item when you're selling your boots, guys. And that is our Persephone.